Hey, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be watching Animal Facts We Should Have Left in 2024. This is from Casual Geographic, one of our favorites. I am interested to see what is going to be on here. If you do get a chance, I'd appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch. And I will have Casual Geographic's video linked in my description below. So be sure to like and subscribe to him. He does an amazing job. All right, let's see what should have been left in 2024.
These saltwater crocodiles in Indonesia have apparently learned how to pretend to be drowning to lure humans in who they view as prey.
Wait, is this not true? God, I hope it's true. I really hope it's true.
I'm going to call this Animal Facts We Should Have Left in 2024, because after this, I will not be speaking on this anymore. So this video went viral for obvious reasons. I really thought it was a joke, but from the comments and the sheer volume of people that tagged me, I guess not. So yeah, they're not pretending to drown. But the truth might actually be worse. You see these tiny dots, these pits on the crocodile? Well, they're pressure sensors, and a microdose trypophobia means a prehistoric sawtooth sledgehammer can detect the smallest vibrations in the water. A butterfly can go skinny dipping, and the oversized assault gecko can pinpoint its exact location. In fact,
This would scare the shit out of me if this, if I was not prepared for this. Yes, this would scare the crap out of me.
a butterfly can go skinny dipping, and the oversized assault gecko can pinpoint its exact location.
Comes out of
In fact,
nowhere.
it's scientifically proven. You could blindfold a crocodile in a sensory deprivation tank and drip a leaky faucet's worth of water. They'll know exactly where it's coming from. Their jaws are more sensitive than fingertips, and it's why you can get away with this until a drop of sweat hits their mouth and you get your melon split like Fruit Ninja. It's also why if you see this, be wary. That's a pre-typed obituary. In especially murky water, a crocodile will basically T-pose with a side of spirit fingers to maximize their sensitivity to any disturbances. And
I kind of love that though. I love the T-pose. That's actually really cute. I know it's really deadly, but it's kind of adorable.
will basically T-pose with a side of spirit fingers to maximize their sensitivity to any disturbances, and any fish in its hitbox gets filleted. So yeah, you got a plus-size sentient snare trap beast breathing like a Nosuke, but this armored demon's the only one slaying. So that could be what's happening here. Or maybe the croc caught a body and just won't let go. Or he could just be dead, but definitely not pretending to drown. I mean, that would imply that someone witnessed the same living plot armor that disregarded 2 extinctions in water and tried to be a hero, and apparently did it enough times for the crocs to catch on. And it's not like crocs are stupid. Mugger crocodiles have been recorded using twigs and sticks to bait nest-building birds like egrets into getting close enough to get fouled. Some Cuban crocs have been trained to respond to commands and even come running when called by name. Oh yeah, they can run, by the way. Crocodiles have also been known to work.
They can run. Yes, I did know that, and it's kind of horrifying. So cool though. They are pretty awesome.
As a team, where a researcher witnessed one scare a pig into a lagoon directly where 2 others were waiting. Hell, they even warn you in Australia to never camp or get water from the same place more than twice, because a croc will really recognize the pattern, memorize your routine, and then be right there to cancel your life subscription the next time. So yeah.
That is smart. That is smart. That does make them very smart. We gotta hand it to them.
Really recognize the pattern, memorize your routine, and then be right there to cancel your life subscription the next time. So yeah, for a brain in the weight class of a walnut, crocs aren't dumb, but sympathy baiting? That's a Bikram yoga stretch, and what surprised me the most was just how many articles reposted that video repeating it. Like, they really have people out here thinking reptiles unlock.
They did. They made this a whole thing. They made it a whole thing. Isn't that crazy how something like that works? It only takes like one kind of wrong idea, I guess, or not totally correct, and it just takes off, and now it's crocodiles are faking deaths. So crazy.
Was just how many articles reposted that video repeating it. Like, they really have people out here thinking reptiles unlock the power of manipulation. Now, to be fair, that might seem obvious to you, but to someone who doesn't yap about animals for a living, or, you know, watch them, seeing it in an article could be all it takes, and like a verbal virus, it doesn't take much for it to spread. So
That's so true. It's so true. He's totally right. Yeah, like if you weren't savvy to watching animal videos and you read that, you'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, totally believe it.
might seem obvious to you, but to someone who doesn't yap about animals for a living, or, you know, watch them, seeing it in an article could be all it takes, and like a verbal virus, it doesn't take much for it to spread. So for the sake of my mental health, I'm working with ground news. Because if I have to argue with one more comment, I'm gonna lose something. My mind, my fans, my freedom, it might get critical. Ground News is an app and website made by a former NASA engineer who saw a very real problem with the way information can be used as a weapon and how news outlets often feed on folks' biases. And the thing is, if you think you can't be swayed by bias, then you're exactly the type of person to fall for it. Ground News counters that by gathering all the world's news in one place so you can compare coverage. No tunnel vision here. You get to see the entire picture and actually be informed. Like with the crocodile story. Here you can see it was covered by a modest 13 sources, and in terms of bias towards one side, there isn't really a whole lot to go off of. But here you can see none of the sources were marked as highly factual. In fact, the majority were quite the opposite. So you see, it's a quick way to know what's what without having a know-it-all in a backwards baseball cap tell it to you. Another recent major event were the LA wildfires, and with Ground News, you can see it was reported by 214 sources, and in terms of bias, it broke pretty much even down the middle. But with bias comparison, you can see that left-leaning literature focused on it being possibly the most costly natural disaster in US history, and right headlines, they focus more on the long-term ramifications for people and businesses and what it could mean for different sides of the socio-economic spectrum. And with the blind spot feature, you can see news that one side may not have reported at all. As a member of the Chronically Online, it's a pretty cool tool for me to have, and if you're watching this, you probably are too. So if you use my link, you'll get 40% off the same top tier less than $5 a month Vantage plan I'm using. Make sure you go to groundnews.com/casualgeo or scan the QR code on screen to subscribe. But until you do, I'll just tell you, they're not pretending to drown. They're smart, they're not that smart. Like I said, these stories only get airtime when people think a wild predator has the same thought process as a person. That's exactly how you get this. You know, to this day, I don't know where this came from. We're talking about
Does otters show their babies when they are in danger to make the enemy feel mercy? Oh, that seems a little wild. Or do you think some people just think they know about animal behavior and then they just kind of just pull it out of their ass and then everybody believes it? Kind of like how I feel sometimes. Like when you see some like crazy stuff, it's like on a scale of like 1 to 10, like how accurate do you think you are and how well do you think you know these things? Sometimes it just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder sometimes.
person. That's exactly how you get this. You know, to this day, I don't know where this came from. We're talking about otters. They're not exactly the emblem of empathy. Male sea otters will literally kidnap a pup while their mom's out hunting and hold it hostage until she gives up the groceries. Otters don't mercy farm. You know, if nature's taught us anything, it's that a family ferret's more likely to throw its child into the abyss than ever try something like this. I mean, just imagine a sea otter trying to emotionally guilt trip a giant apex dolphin. That's another thing. Everyone calls them killer whales, but orcas are bully dolphins on steroids, whose original handle was whale killer. Yeah, you probably heard me say this many times. Well, I was wrong, technically. Let me explain. But it will get complicated, so I'm gonna need you to lock in. After this ad.
Okay. We gotta lock in. All right. I got this.
Let me explain. But it will get complicated, so I'm gonna need you to lock in. After this ad, of course. So cetaceans are basically mammals that stole the fish's entire flow, not from fusing or merging, but from the evolution that's converging. There's two types of cetaceans, baleen whales, you know, the toothbrush bristles for teeth type, and toothed whales, for obvious reasons. Okay, now here's where it gets complicated. The toothed whale family reunion is massive. You got everything from your flipper paralysis demon, the false killer whale, to the virtually extinct vaquita. There's 10 families of toothed whales, and within these 10, there's a super family with 6 of them called Delphinoidea. Superfamily Delphinoidea is where you have your oceanic dolphins, porpoises, along with narwhals and belugas, because they're related for some reason. Cue the narluga. Also, notice I said oceanic dolphins. The dolphins that live in rivers are in a completely different party. But anyway, superfamily Delphinoidea is where you find the dolphins that, let's be real, are the ones you think of when you hear the word dolphin. And the biggest type of ocean dolphin is the one that can slapbox a seal into orbit. So to recap, any mammal that looks like this is a cetacean. Every cetacean with teeth is a toothed whale. A dolphin in the ocean is a toothed whale in the Delphinoidea family. And the biggest member of Delphin.
I will do my best to remember this, but this was a lot to take in very quickly. But I know that they are in different groups now. I know I can take away that much. That is, I actually didn't know that, so that is good to know.
Whale. A dolphin in the ocean is a toothed whale in the Delphinoidea family, and the biggest member of Delphinoidea is an orca. So long story short, killer whales are dolphins. Every dolphin is a toothed whale, but not every toothed whale is a dolphin.
Okay.
And every toothed whale is a cetacean. It's kind of like how every tortoise is a turtle, but not every turtle is a tortoise. So to answer, are orcas whales or dolphins? Yes, they are. By the way, let me know if you want a full video on that, because that was probably mad confusing. Because being an animal nerd
Oh yeah, doesn't he have one of like you don't even or like we don't know what whales are or whales are not what you think they are or something like that? I did want to watch that one too.
long enough is realizing names really don't mean a thing. Except here, Black Panther is not an animal. You might be tired of hearing it. Well, I'm tired of saying it. When I say not an animal, I mean if you go to a zoo and try to find the exhibit that says Black Panther, you won't find it, because it's not even a name more than a description. It's a panther that's black. And remember, panther is just any cat in the Panthera genus. So any lion, tiger, jaguar, leopard, or snow leopard in black could be a black panther. But because the mutation that causes it is dominant in jaguars but recessive in leopards, most black panthers are just jaguars with 10% tint. But Black Panther itself
Oh,
isn't an actual
with 10% tint, bro. I love it. They're so pretty though. They look so cool. But I didn't know that either. I thought Black Panther was an actual animal. But, yep, okay, fair enough.
Most black panthers are just jaguars with 10% tint, but Black Panther itself isn't an actual animal. That'd be like if we called every black wolf, fox, or coyote a black canine, but then acted like black canine was its own thing. It's not real. And you know what else? Alpha wolves are not real, I swear to God. Actually, they are. They are real, but only when you put a bunch of wolves that don't know each other in a zoo and they have to figure out stuff on their own. That's actually what happened. In the 1930s, Rudolf Schenkel studied wolves in a zoo, and after watching more fights in phase in a telenovela, he just figured that wolves determine group politics by tearing each other apart. Biologist David Mech built off his work and came up with the term alpha wolf. What they didn't realize was that the wolves were fighting over resources, not rank, and by putting a bunch of randoms in one place, they basically created real house wolves of Switzerland. In real life, a wolf pack is usually just two parents and a bunch of their kids. What folks kept calling the alpha wolf
Right, right, because we did watch another video that talked about this. So that was very eye-opening to me because I did not know that. I think I definitely drank the Kool-Aid of the, you know, wolf pack, alpha dog type hierarchy, I guess, or like how they function. But that was actually one of the more interesting facts I feel like that I learned about wolves.
whole time was just their father. Now, because I've done this before, I know someone's gonna comment, well, if they're the lead wolf, they're still the alpha. The problem is, the whole alpha thing implies that the lead wolves got there by beating the others like a Cherokee drum. Really, it's just seniority. Also, another thing I never thought about until right now is once the kids get to about 1 or 2 years old, they dip and try to form their own pack. In a zoo, you often get the same adult wolves around each other constantly, and like any reality show, eventually that leads to tension that wouldn't be there in a normal pack. So
Oh, so yeah, oh yeah, that's right, because then like the research didn't really reflect the wildlife because they got put in situations that they're not really meant to be in naturally, but they still kind of, I guess, like need some sort of order, right, to get everybody to get along. So I do remember this now. This was actually really, really fascinating.
constantly, and like any reality show, eventually that leads to tension that wouldn't be there in a normal pack. So normally you wouldn't see any alpha wolves in the wild, and the same
Right.
guy that came up with that would spend the rest of his career trying to take it back. And just as a final middle finger to anyone that still wants to argue, when the term alpha male was first used academically in 1921, it was by zoologist Thorleif Sheldrup Ebbe, and he was referring to, I'm not even kidding, he was talking about the hierarchy where lower status poultry will get pecked on by higher ranks. That's literally where pecking order came from. So the next time a man tries you with that alpha male just know he's taking cues from a temperamental chicken nugget.
Okay, but that chicken, let's be fair here, because I did do a video about like this chicken's like 3 feet. So, it could steal my lunch money. So I would probably be lower on the totem pole of that one. To be fair to the chicken.
So the next time a man tries you with that alpha male just know he's taking cues from a temperamental chicken nugget. Also, chickens are confirmed psychopaths. If one chicken starts bleeding, the whole flock will
That's
jump in and
true.
peck it to death. I think the worst thing is that people took the alpha dog thing and got
Wait a second. Were they feeding the chicken?
starts bleeding, the whole flock will
Oh my God. Why would you do that? Oh my goodness. Oh God. That is crazy. What is this from? What what is this from? This is cannibalism.
will jump in and peck it to death. I think the worst thing is that people took the alpha dog thing and got convinced that's how you make your actual dog respect you. Cesar Millan has done an absolute masterclass of misinformation on the dog community. You really got folks thinking you gotta flex on an 80-pound pit bull to keep him in line. Imagine trying to play alpha with Cujo on creatine.
Oh yeah.
We've gotten a lot wrong about dogs, and probably the worst thing, that a tail wagging means happy.
All I know is that Pretty much all dogs are good dogs.
You've gotten a lot wrong about dogs.
Actually, all dogs are good dogs. Yeah.
Probably the worst thing, that a tail wagging means happy. That fact alone has probably gotten more people bit than anything.
That's
Basically, a
quite
tail
true.
wag means excitement. Excitement can mean seeing their person come home, or it can mean fear, anxiety, or the last warning before they put a canine-sized hole in your hand. And the faster the tail, the more excited Fido is. The question is, what kind? Well, science says a tail favoring the right means the vibes are good, but a tail leaning left could mean stress, so best to be left. Alone, that is a lot more complicated than I just made it sound, but long story short, a tail wag is like a smile. A smile can mean someone's happy to see you, or might even think you're cute, or that waitress is just doing her job and doesn't want to get hit on at work. Long story short, if you expect your dog to learn how to parlay people, then the least you can do is talk tail. Oh, another dog thing that's been bothering me for years is that Chihuahuas are the spawn of Shaitan. Now, I get the little dog thing. I've been personally victimized by many an ankle biter. But with dogs, there's usually a why. You just gotta look deep enough. Huskies are known for being donkey stubborn toddlers on 4.
Come inside.
But Huskies were also bred as sled dogs, and not only would they have to be independent and make decisions in a dangerous work environment, sometimes they'd have to be willing to go against orders if those orders went against their better judgment. It's actually called intelligent disobedience, and for football fans, it's basically an audible. It's pretty important, because if Russell Wilson had it, maybe he would have ran the ball! The Eagles are basically walking instruments, but they were bred to hunt rabbits in thick brush, and that same baying keeping you up at 2 a.m. is how they communicate with hunters. So why are Chihuahuas like that?
Oh my god.
I don't even think it's a Chihuahua thing, more than a little dog thing. But
I've never really been around that many small dogs. I've kind of only been around big dogs. I think the only little dog I can think of that I've been around is those little wiener dogs, and he was pretty cool. He was a pretty cool little dog. I don't know if I've really been around Chihuahuas. I feel like they're kind of, I guess, variety of personalities, just like any dog, right? I mean, like I know they get like a kind of a bad rap, but I've seen plenty of videos where they look like they're pretty chill. Because I follow a couple of them they just look like they're living their best lives and they're not being assholes. So either way, I still like them. I like all dogs. All dogs are great.
why are Chihuahuas like that? I don't even think it's a Chihuahua thing, more than a little dog thing. But I have my theories. A lot of times, Chihuahuas don't get socialized with other dogs early on, so the first time they see a big dog, which like any dog to them is a big dog, it probably scares the daylights out of them. Also, I think a bigger thing is owners be letting a lot of bad habits slide just because they're travel size. So eventually it escalates. Let it be a
Yeah.
Doberman and suddenly they'll know discipline. Actually, that's my biggest thing. A lot of owners won't correct bad behavior when it comes from a Chihuahuano. In fact, I've seen a lot of y'all encourage it. I've always said if a Rottweiler
See, like that, like snappiness, I guess, yeah, I guess that's true. Because they're so small, people kind of think it's funny, right? Because, like, if a big dog does this, then everybody's terrified, and then, God knows what happens to the dog. But when a little dog does it, everyone kind of thinks it's funny and it's humorous. But it is kind of rewarding bad behavior with them. That is a very good point.
won't correct bad behavior when it comes from a Chihuahuano. In fact, I've seen a lot of y'all encourage it. I've always said if a Rottweiler acted like a Chihuahua for a day, he'd be dead
yeah.
by dinner. Also,
Yep.
often what looks like aggression might just be fear. And if your dog tells you he's afraid and you don't listen because you think it's cute, but that's how you end up with a dog version of David. Size might be part of it too, but it probably has less to do with it than people think. Long story short, if I see a kid wilding in Walmart, I'm gonna look at the parents. And likewise, I'm gonna blame the dog owner before I blame the dog.
I think that that's fair. That is true though, like I never really thought of it that way, but I think yeah, the same applies to kind of how little dogs behave. I don't mean like just chihuahuas either, because I feel like there's a lot of little dogs that kind of get like a bad rap. And I feel like I never really put those two together of like the owner, like it's kind of on the owner to be better, right? Just like people that have large dogs that have very well and they're all well behaved, it's because they have good dog parents. So I I definitely agree with this. I think that is a very good take on that.
Wilding in Walmart, I'm gonna look at the parents. And likewise, I'm gonna blame the dog owner before I blame the dog.
Yeah.
No clever transition, but another thing I've heard is that male lions don't hunt, or better yet, that male lions are lazy. And I can tell you exactly where it came from. You see, lionesses use the power of friendship to run down prey in open areas. It's pretty hard to miss. Lions are bigger, bulkier, and with a whole afro equipped, they had to switch up the playbook. So instead, male lions ambush prey by camping out in dense brush. Research shows that male lions pack up prey as frequently as females. It's just that in the olden days, you'd probably never see it. Also, before male lions even get a pride, they're in their nomad arc. Oh, they'd be lying on the ground permanently if they didn't hunt. Now, to be fair, male lions do stop hunting as much when they're in a pride, but not completely. They'll often get involved to bring down bigger, riskier prey like buffalo that lionesses might struggle with. Basically, the lionesses run them down and the main mercenary delivers the final blow. Now, they do only get involved about 10% of the time, but it's not because they're lazy. They just have a different job description. Male lions patrol the pride lands, mark
That is true. That is true. I do remember that because we did watch the cub to lion video or whatever, and that one was like, I feel kind of bad for the lions. They got a hard life. So yeah, it definitely makes sense though.
their territory, and as you know, they gotta run the ones with any outsider trying
Yep.
to take his place. What you might not realize is, as good at hunting lionesses are, in some studies they got up to half their kills stolen by hyenas, or even other males. Having a nearly 500-pound equalizer on their side helps them keep what they catch. It's not lazy, it's just that lions and lionesses help cover each other's weaknesses perfectly, and clearly it works. They're the most
It's like the perfect balance between the males and females. I love it.
Lions and lionesses help cover each other's weaknesses perfectly, and clearly it works. They're the most notorious and feared pack predators in Africa. Or maybe second, because there's one predator that animals fear even more than Mufasa and friends, and you'll never get it. It's us. Us.
Yep.
You might remember that in
So true. Yes, it is, and whenever you ask that question, you gotta know it is always us. It is always us. We are the worst. Absolutely. I agree.
experiments showed that almost every animal from giraffes to antelope to even leopards and hyenas were unanimously more afraid of the sound of humans than the
Yep.
cadence of a giant carnivorous cat. Which is how, to this day, I still don't understand how this went viral. Or at least I didn't, because not only did I find out where it came from, I think I was wrong. Kind of. Technically. Let me explain. So, in 2017, college student Julia Haas posted a tweet saying elephants basically see us the same way we see puppies. Now, ignoring the part of the population that's terrified of dogs, the fact loses steam when you realize she got it from Tumblr. It's more likely that one of the smartest creatures alive see us as predators, but not their babies. Remember, it's proven that baby elephants that play the most grow up into more well-adjusted adults. It's why you'll see a
Right.
baby-faced boulder chase around birds, dogs, and anything in between. So here's what I think happened. Baby elephants will treat humans like any other animal. Difference is, humans might be the only animal that'll see an 1,800-pound toddler barreling towards them and welcome it. In fact, the premature pachyderms probably realize that a hairless bipedal ape gives them their best response. So it's not really that elephants think we're cute, it's that baby elephants think everything's cute.
Oh, that's a good perspective that, they're still growing and learning and, they're obviously very curious animals from the why we can't have a baby elephant for Christmas. We did learn a lot. We learned a lot in that one. So that does make sense.
Best response. So it's not really that elephants think we're cute, it's that baby elephants think everything's cute. Us included. And I'd bet that's where all the videos of 1-ton 2-year-olds manhandling people came from, and I wouldn't even believe that if I didn't nearly become one of them.
That's
Yeah, I went all the
true.
way to Chiang Mai to get bullied by an elephant's child. And I'd do it again. I actually made a video where I talk about it, along with why playing with one could be a bad time for literally everyone involved. You might not have seen it because apparently the YouTube lords did not care for that video.
Oh, we saw it and we loved it. I love that video. That's probably one of my favorite videos of his was watching him go to the elephant sanctuary. I really loved that one. Even though there was like a sad part to it. But that video honestly is probably one of my favorites from him.
You might not have seen it because apparently the YouTube lords did not care for that video. Probably because I talked about certain topics. If you know, you know, but if you don't, definitely give it a watch. I don't usually plug after I post, but I'm proud of that one. But that's
You
gonna do
should
it for this
be.
video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, touch grass. It's good for you. And I'm gonna see y'all in, well, hopefully in this one, but if not, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
I really enjoyed this one. This one was good. I like when he backtracks or finds different things or corrects things, whether it's himself or other sources or things that he finds online. I like these. I know we did, I think one from 2023, and that one I really enjoyed too. So this one was great. I thought this was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I think um, there's so much. I know there was a couple that I did know because we had watched, I think, some of the other videos that kind of coincided with this one. But overall, this was great. I loved it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. be sure to like and subscribe to Casual Geographic because he does just an amazing job, and I really appreciate his channel a lot. So be sure to give him lots of support. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you in the next one.